Hey there, it's Johnberry555 and welcome to my review of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 4, Faster. So if you haven't seen my spoiler-free review yet, it'll be linked in the cards above and also in the description as well. But let us get into spoilers. The premise of this episode is that Hunter and Fives, they're off doing another mission for Sid. So Tech, Wrecker, and Omega are sent with Sid to do another mission. Basically to be Sid's bodyguards during a race where she's sponsoring a droid racer and and eventually a bet is made and all that, and the droid gets damaged beyond repair, so ends up being Tech has to be the one to do the race, and he does win because unlike the other races who are sinking aggressively, because this is a race where pretty much anything goes, similar to pod racing in that regards, but also not because it's more based off of speeder chassis rather than whatever the pod racing is doing. And it has some inspiration with a lot of kart style racing games, video games, with obstacles and all that and dangerous shortcuts. But with Tech wins because he's thinking defensively. He drops the weapons because he realizes that they're not only sucking up power that he can use for shields and speed, but also extra weight that is impacting him. And because he does that, because he's thinking, defensively, he's able to have enough, essentially, speed that he can take that dangerous shortcut and survive. And also in order to win and also free Sid from the person she made the bet with that went sour for her. And so by taking that shortcut, he's puts himself pretty much almost in the lead, and he's able to, because he knows how the other two racers are thinking, i.e. aggressively, he's able to get them to hurt each other, even though they're actually working together, and that allows Tech to take the win. So that's actually also vague. That's all good in that, but what does this say about our characters? That's the question, because some people may apply the label of filler to this episode, but not necessarily. There's some threads. One, we learned that we already knew that Tech was, analytical and all that, but we also see how he thinks. He doesn't think strictly in the terms of combat. Sure, as we saw in 2 episodes ago, he can hold his own in combat very well, but his mindset is not necessarily, guns blaze, but more of how can we achieve this goal most efficiently, and that doesn't necessarily, and if combat aggressiveness makes that harder, he doesn't do it. This is actually probably very key in all of this, because this really, we do learn about Tech a lot, but we also learn about Sid. We get the implication because of basically the gangster that she made the bet with, that she has a much darker past than she's led on to the Bad Batch. So that does lead up. Is that going to come to fruition? Is that going to come to head? Well, the Bad Batch learn about Sid's past, and will that create some distrust between them? That's some good question. That's really, I think, where this episode really wanted to tell us, that Sid has a darker past than she's led on. The Bad Batch already knew that she's made some questionable choices in the past, but there's a difference between questionable choices and having some really bad decisions, maybe some potentially nefarious decisions in the past under her belt. That's the thing, and the gangster actually tells the Bad Batch, specifically Tech, Omega, and Wrecker, that basically that there's more to Sid than she lets on, that she has a darker past, and their loyalty won't necessarily be returned. Now, I kind of wish they skate through in the line where like one of them question, is he saying that to create distrust, or is he actually warning us? But that's what I was thinking, like, okay, I think it's clear to say that definitely Sid has a much darker past than she's at time, but we don't know how dark, and we don't know what she's actually told the Bad Batch and how they will react. But I think it's safe to say that Sid, the way she was way back when the Batch first met her in season 1, is different than how she feels about the Bad Batch now. I think there is definitely a change, because she is surprised when Omega steps up and basically agrees to a second race, after though Tech and Wrecker do come in and talk with Omega before they make the final agreement, but agree to a second race for what was supposed to be the droid pilot racing, but Tech ended up racing in order basically to get Sid's debt wiped out and her released from the gangster. And that all seemed to have surprised Sid. So that's definitely shown that maybe now that she's maybe learning some stuff she hadn't really considered, some character development for her. I think we need to see some more development in that, but I think there's some interesting stuff going on there. I also really did just want to point this out and like the scene where Tech basically states that sure we could go in guns blazing, but the gangsters are dangerous. We don't know how they will react. And that also goes back to what characterization we do learn of Tech, that he is not an aggressive thinker. He's sure he if aggressiveness and fighting is the only way to do it, he's not going to outrule it. But everything we see in this episode tells us that that is not his first course of action. But I think I'm going to leave you there with those two thoughts, that this more sits past to be revealed that could create conflict, and the characterization of Tech, which we really did sorely needed. So I think those two things alone prove that this episode is not a filler. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think different than me? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you haven't done so already, feel free to like, share, and upvote the video if you enjoyed it. Also, consider checking out any links down below and subscribing to and following the channel if you are so interested in seeing more content from me in the future. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you, always.